right, now we're live.
Woohoo!
So yes. So tell me, how have you been, Katie?
Oh my God, they missed all the best parts.
You missed all the best part.
I've been good. I am 1 month out of spinal fusion surgery, which was a really big deal, bigger deal than I expected.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Yes, I do recall it being a bigger deal than you expected.
Well, so we were supposed to do our June book.
Yes.
And we had to reschedule. And so I'm like, I'm good. We'll do it at the hospital because I'm going to be here for a while. So that'll be fine. So I'm scheduling that before I go into surgery. And I'm like, I come out like, oh my God. Yes. I
do recall before your surgery being like, are you sure?
I'll be fine. Yeah. And I thought it'd be cute to do it from the hospital bed. And I was like, no way.
And then you realize that is not cute.
So, no, it was opposite cute. Yeah.
It was fun though. I was there and I told people all about Free to Focus, which was exciting. It was one of my favorite books. But how did you feel about that book?
I actually liked it very much. And it obviously hit a lot of bells for me. I don't know if you ended up getting it, but I got the journal.
Oh, I didn't get the journal.
It's intimidating. I'm not going to lie, because especially for someone who struggles with this stuff, it's a thing where you're really looking quarterly, which of course is what I preach to anybody. And it is how I plan quarterly. We track stuff quarterly. Cause like, I don't know how anybody can really have that whole year in one thought. There's just too many variables, too many things change. So it's broken into quarters and it's got little bookmarks and it's very organized the way I like it, but it's intimidating. And I was like, I have to wait till the next quarter to start it. And then of course
you always have to wait until tomorrow
Yeah. Well, I gotta be honest though, that is one of the things that I didn't like about it, because when I was fired up to start it, it was, Memorial Day. Yeah. And I was like, well, I can't even say I'm like halfway. I'm almost, and then I put it away and it just mocks me. So
yeah. Well, now's a perfect time to start it.
You know what? You're absolutely right, actually, because I just want to share with our friends here is that, and this is about me and where I am at right now. But like, if it
about you a little bit.
It's a little bit about me. It's always about me. But I just want to share this thing because this is part of the reason that we do this book club. Why we even have this thing at all is that we want to help people bring themselves from point A to point B. So we're picking books from all over the map, all kinds of, we go from a real like how-to thing to then we go to like metaphorical, like parables and things like that, because you just don't know who needs what and when. And as these all come together, you as a listener can jump in and grab whatever one you want. You don't have to do these in order. Because what I want you to know is by reading books like this, by filling my brain with all the right things, I'm in real estate and I started my business like 13 years ago. And all I ever wanted to do was I wanted to do $5 million in growth, in volume.
Right.
And, our average price point was here around like 350. And it kept escaping me. I'd get 1 million, I'd get 2 million, I'd get 3. I got 415 one year. And I was like, oh, so close. And I couldn't figure out, like, those are years and years of truly working really hard. But like, I kept reading these books and I kept filling my brain with the right things and I kept applying them, and cumulatively, a la the compound effect, cumulatively, those little things that I kept doing just started. Well, first you laid the foundation and like, all right, I feel pretty strong. And I feel that foundation is like confidence. And I feel good. I can build on this confidence. I can take more risks and go a little further. And the year that I broke 5, I did 7. So I didn't just break it. I crushed it.
Yeah.
And like your mind just goes to a whole new place. So what I want everybody to know is like by doing what we're doing right now, wherever you are in your journey. And I have so much to talk about. And Alyssa, I will let you in a minute, and we have promised you guys, we will talk about the book. But I had this like kind of epiphany about what we're up to, and I just have to share it. And because now, so I hit that 5 million, and I was like, I am so freaking successful. I can't even stand it. And I really was like anybody out there who's like in real estate or in whatever industry, and you're hitting, or you're striving for that 5 million. Sorry, I'm uncomfortable.
No, you're good.
And you're like, she's somehow, I do not want to make that goal seem small, because I just went after it for years before I got close to it. This year, you know, we're doing great. And I set some ambitious goals and everything, like more ambitious than I had ever thought. And by golly, we are not only going to hit them this year, we're going to pulverize them. Like it's great, Alyssa, and it is, and I want to celebrate that, and that's really cool. But I am like, I never thought any bigger than that.
Right. Okay.
So me in this book club right now is the best thing in the world, because otherwise the danger is, because everybody's familiar with the struggle. I think anybody's ever tried to do anything, it's a struggle. You're working, you're trying to get up there. And lots of us are familiar with success too, you know, little successes, big successes, whatever it is. Yeah. But when you hit the big goal, like the big, fat, hairy, audacious goal, oh, like you could go so easy into complacency and just like, I don't care if I go down a little, I'll still be better than what I thought I was.
Absolutely.
So this stuff is starting to really like bounce around in my head hard.
So I've been excited. I haven't texted you or told you this because I wanted to tell you on the show, because I thought it was so important. So little did you know you were talking about the book that whole time, but I read this, and as you may recall, those of you guys who have been listening and watching, I did not finish The Alchemist because I just like couldn't get behind it. So I zoomed through this because I really loved it. And I went back and I read the rest of The Alchemist because I was like, I said I was going to do this. I feel like I should do this. Maybe I just need to give it another shot. And I did. And it really made a big difference. So all that to say, what you're saying about reading these books and just getting these little nuggets, I also feel like, you know, I had read the 5-second rule. I'd read some of these books. So those of you guys that have watched, if you've read one of these books, that doesn't mean don't participate. Like, come on the show, be part of the discussion, read the book again if you want.
Read it again.
I'm getting something new each time I'm flipping in.
Oh yeah.
If I finish the book and I'm just prepping for our conversation, I'm getting something new almost every time I open these books. And I agree with you. It's setting me up in my personal life, in my professional life, in just about every area there is to have the best year of my life. And I think there really is something behind that. Not that it's all about you and I. It kind of,
I don't know, kind of is.
I also forgot to mention that I had been saying to you for a long time, I was like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if like we took the audio and we did something with this? And so when Katie was laid up after her surgery, I decided that it would be cool to surprise her and make Between the Lines a podcast too. So if you don't like looking at our faces.
What? I had a haircut for the occasion.
No, if you don't like watching us for an hour each month, our episodes will also go up as a podcast that you can download and listen to in the car, on a plane, working out, whatever you really want. So there's some really great discussion. The added bonus was I was able to re-listen to a whole lot of our conversations as I came up there, and it really, there's some good stuff in here. And I don't mean that to pat ourselves on the back. I mean that because I think there is some really valuable nuggets that people can benefit from.
All right. So I'm going to do a timeout for a second. I think we both need to stop saying things like, you don't want to look at me. You don't want to hear about here. We're freaking pretty amazing, Alyssa.
Well, right? I would actually agree with that.
Like we didn't just like like we've both achieved really great things. Our personal lives are pretty good. Like we're happy people and all that jazz. We didn't just show up like that.
Totally.
You know, like we work
a lot of work to get where we are. And I think the same goes for anybody watching too, is, you know, don't diminish the hard work and the struggle that you guys have been through to get where you're at. And I think coming full circle with the book, that's kind of one of the big themes that you hear in this book. So Katie, I'm going to dive in with you though, because you picked this book.
Yep.
And you said to me, you were like, I know you don't really like this more story type stuff. You like the tactical advice, but this book changed my life when I first read it. So tell us a little bit about that.
So I chose this book because when I was in high school and going through like that who am I thing, and you're like, you think you know who you are and you know you're not what you were or what you were trying to be, and you're just like, what is this all about? Like, I don't even know, and I don't fit in. I don't know where I'm supposed to be, like real struggle bus stuff, like trying to sort that out. As someone, I think I remember the person who put this in front of me. I'm going to give them credit for it, for, you know, telling me I should read this book. And I read it and I just lost it. It just resonated on so many levels. I feel like it's an incredibly good book to give like as a gift to someone young. Because
I'm impressed by High School You, because High School Me would not have gotten a whole lot out of this.
Oh, High School Me was very angsty. I was like very like bubbly, and then I went home and would just be like very dark and emo.
High School Me would have been like, what the hell are they talking about? I don't really get it. I
wonder if we would have hung out. I don't know. You've been like, she's like funny and everything, but she's a weirdo. That's me. And I did some really jacked up things with my hair. You would have been like, I don't know. No, there was perm.
Yeah, unclear. Yeah. Okay. Well, so I love that. So I'll let you finish. Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off.
Oh yeah. So anyway, so I read it in the just the basic concept of feeling like I'm trying to do and be something that nobody else is trying to be and do. And I'm not trying to be fancy. I'm not trying to be something or somebody else for the sake of that. I just feel this urge, like I got more in me. There's more in me than you freaking seagulls, you know, like, why can't I just do that? And there's just like no support for that. And the first part of this book, that loneliness, like resonated hard. And I know I'm kind of going into the dark part first, but like,
no, I think it's important because I mean, like they talk about, you know, how most goals at the beginning don't learn more than like the simplest need for flight.
You fly out to the food and then you fly back to safety.
And I think like this is where I say High School Me would have been like, huh? I don't get it. Don't you just do it? I don't really get it. But I think this is so important because I think those of us, and you and I definitely fall into this category, and so do so many of our listeners, is most people are motivated by necessity. Most people are motivated by like, I've got to put food on the table for my family. I've got to pay my bills. I've got to do this.
I've got to get this school, like I've got to get a good grade. I've got to get into a good college.
The people that are inherently motivated by action. And I'm going to lump every one of our listeners into that because I don't think you would probably listen if you weren't. People that are motivated by action and process are kind of put out, and like it's hard to sort of find your place in the world because a lot of the time your thoughts don't line up with people. They don't understand why you're spending so much time on this or why it's so damn important or any of that sort of stuff. And it's just kind of that bigger purpose that we have, right?
I would like to know, like, whether you're listening live right now or watching live right now or watching the recording, I'd love for you to comment about if there's anybody listening who remembers being, I think most people, but really different, feeling just different when you were younger. Because I think there were like when you think of the kids in high school, like there was the horse girl, there was the skating girl, you know, there was the science guy or whoever it was, like people who like seemed to specialize really early or like just got super passionate about something and they didn't always participate in all of the regular high schooly type things.
Yeah.
They did sit on the outside, but they were pursuing their passions, you know, and I can't judge it.
This is where I kind of was like, adult me gets this more.
Yeah.
Don't you think that is almost exacerbated when you become an adult? Where it's like when you're chasing something that's like a true passion that you maybe don't have this whole team on your side, people get in their minds like, you're an adult now. You need to have a real job or to do what's right to provide for your family. Like you don't have time to be chasing this dream. That's just a pipe.
Well, isn't it, you know, I don't know which book or person it was that said it, but it's like when we talk to our kids, we say, anything is possible. You can be anything. You can do anything. The sky is the limit. Is that thunder?
It is. I've got two puppies sitting right here.
Oh, I've got two puppies wrestling over here because it's beautiful here.
They're cuddling now.
Are they okay? Okay. But so we tell our kids like anything is possible and just the sky's the limit, you know. And then as adults, we're like, whoa. Like, what are you doing? You know, like, that'll do. You had your shot and now you need to pick a lane and just go.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, I think you and I both share the like, there was no lane for me.
Right.
You know, I was gonna fly, you know, or whatever.
Well, and now for me as a parent, it's so much more important to me now that I chase those passions than it was to me back then. And that's why I say I feel like this resonates with adult me way more because I'm like, I not only have to do this to tap into my own purpose, and this is why it's good that I finished The Alchemist finally. But I not only need to tap into my own purpose, I need to be that role model and that example so that my kids aren't afraid to tap into their purpose.
Yeah.
There's so many reasons why you wouldn't tap into your purpose. And I look around the world these days and I feel like there's just so much wasted potential with people who aren't chasing what they really care about.
Not even like 3% of what they could possibly do or be. Yeah. And it breaks my heart. And you definitely want your kids to be seeing this as a path. And I gotta tell you something, Alyssa, that it's not just your kids that are watching you, that, you know, you've created an audience around you of people
I really care about watching me though. I would love to inspire other people, but I also feel like it's my responsibility with them.
That's true. But you know, just to lay another layer on for you, there's you have this huge audience of people who know who you are and know what you do and are watching you.
Yeah.
And are learning from you, whether they're trying to or not. It's, you know, you're having an impact. And that's the other thing that I like to think about. And this is actually some of the stuff that's in the book was reinforced. Like you were in sports in high school, right?
Yeah.
And did you have any really amazing coaches?
I did. I mean, I played junior Olympic softball and I mean, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
You
did some sports, right?
That's what I did. That was all I did.
Yeah. So like you probably had a similar thing like this, but one of the things that our coach would always tell us, especially as we got to the upperclassmen, there was a poem about little eyes and the little eyes that you just never knew when they were watching you, but you're always being watched. And that theme comes up in Jonathan Livingston Seagull, you know, these other eyes that are watching him.
Yeah.
And you just don't even realize it.
But I think and this again is why I say adult me, this resonates with adult me so much more, is they talk about, you know, if you're challenging the status quo, people may not understand you. They may even like mock you or shame you. And in high school, most of us, I don't know about you, probably me in high school, if you're not sticking with the status quo, you're kind of like, sorry, I'm not going to talk about what I'm doing.
Oh, yeah.
As an adult, I think sometimes, hopefully, you kind of are able to drop that because you have a much wider audience or a much wider world to explore than just high school, you know?
It's harder though, because I'm just trying to get a peek at us on Facebook. It's harder sometimes as an adult, which is funny, to like really go out there and stick to it when you're getting that kind of pressure, particularly when you're getting started. Like I'm at a point in my life where like I've finally gotten some respect for some of the like weird things, like, oh, easy. Like my husband is a perfect example. He's even said to me, he's like, there are some things that you used to do. Like when you were first starting your business, I was like, that's never going to work. Why is she doing that? Because he's a business owner too. He's like, such a bad idea. I would never do that. He doesn't say it to me. He's outside, outwardly trying to be supportive, but in his heart, he's like, she's nuts.
Right.
And thank God he didn't say anything, because it all worked, and one of the most validating things was he's come and said to me, I'm so proud of you. Mm-hmm. I so respect the way you do things and what you've done. I didn't do it for that. That's not, but like when he said that, my heart was like, oh,
yeah.
To have someone say that I thought you were crazy and now I know you're not, was so validating. And anybody who read this book, that's the kind of stuff you really need to be taken away from it.
Yeah. So what I loved, one of my favorite parts of this one was when they were talking about how he originally hoped that he would gain this skill basically for the flock. Like he wanted other people to come with him. But then once he realized, hey, this is my purpose, like he was okay going at it alone. And I think that's a powerful metaphor for any of us who are going down this path, is at some point or another, things become important enough to you that you don't really care if other people are with you, following you, watching you. You just feel like, I've got to do this.
It's true. It is funny how it does start, like, because you have this impulse and you're like, well, oh my God, all I have to do is tell someone else about this. They just haven't figured it out yet, and be like, guess what we can do? And they're like, no, what?
Like, no, like maybe you should think this through or try it this way. Yeah. And I think about when I started the company, like for years, I was afraid to go out on my own and do this, because I was like, I didn't have the safety net of other people around me. It was just like, if this doesn't work now, it's my fault. And I think that was something that it took me, much like this book, it took me saying like, I know that it's my purpose and my role here to do the work that I do. And I believe that it matters enough that I'm going to bet on myself and do it for myself, whether or not people come with me. And I'd love for people to come with me, but
like that's a bonus.
Decide whether or not I do it.
Yes. That concept alone is incredibly freeing. And I went through the same thing because I wanted people but here's the thing. Part of what I wanted was them to tell me that I was doing something that's cool.
Yeah.
Or right. Or a good idea. I wanted the validation from them. And if they followed me, then I would get that validation. And then I don't know when the switch flipped, but suddenly I was like, no, you know what? I know this is good. I know it's not perfect, but I know that the fuel behind it is right. And they'll come.
Yeah.
If I build it, they will come.
Absolutely. I think my wife has a great saying that she always says that you could have
There's a bunch of them, actually.
Yeah, she does. She's got some good ones. But she always says you could have a friend for a reason, a friend for a season, or a friend for a lifetime. And I think that to me kept ringing true in my mind as I read through this book, because kind of as he leveled up, if you will, and he kept losing certain mentors or people in his, birds, I guess, birds in his life, but finding someone else or finding a different purpose. And I don't say that in like a you should use people kind of way, but I say that in I've had people come and go into my life that were right for that moment and me get to where I needed to go. And I didn't let go of them in my life, but they didn't come to the next level with me.
Right. That is exactly what he's talking about there. And that, yeah, and yes, that's so very true. And there's nothing about you that's using those people.
Right. Because I think also too, we sort of block out, they talk about how his memory on earth was fading away. So then he got to heaven. And I think we like, even though the struggle is so real in the moment, do you ever feel like you totally like blacked out for ages when you like went through it? You're like, man, I know I took me a whole lot of hard work to get here, but like I've tried very hard to forget that. Or like, yes, I forget my struggle that got me to this next level.
I do. I mean, like I look back and I'm like, how did I survive that? Like, how did I keep trying the same thing over and over again when it kept not going anywhere?
And I'm like, why was I continuing to do that? Like,
yes.
I wish I had figured this out sooner. But I think that's so important when you look at this, is because we sort of underestimate ourselves in the moment. And then once we get there, we forget all that we were capable of. And I don't think that's a good thing sometimes, because I think that forces us then in the struggle. Like, what's that saying? Like, you've made it through every bad day you've ever had. So like, you probably get through this one too. And it sounds super insensitive when people say it or when you hear it, but it's true. We've gotten through all of that hard stuff that got us to where we're at. What's to say we're not going to get through this next struggle?
Yeah. I'm actually reading another book was reading another book. Actually, I read it after this, but I'm still in the middle of it right now, which is another one that maybe we consider for a future book club, but Can't Hurt Me. David Goggins' book. Are you familiar with that?
How did I know that?
Well, we'll get into that, but he was talking about, everybody's familiar with the concept of small victories. Yeah. You know, they add up to big ones. He looked at that small victory thing as a little bit different. He talked about, and I know I'm going a little off topic here, but he talked about this cookie jar that he had that his mom, even when they were super poor, she always filled the cookie jar, and they would get to go every once in a while and drop their hand and get 1 or 2 cookies. And he would just like, you know, turn the cookie around and look at it, smell it, look at it, and then just garage it. And he was like, cookie. And it was like the best. And he said, you take these little victories in your life and you really examine them. Like they could be little things like I overcame my fear of putting my face in the water, and I learned to swim and then did triathlons. Mm-hmm. Like that is a pretty major victory. So when you're suffering, he says, treat those as cookies. So one of the exercises in his book is to go to do an inventory of all the little victories that you've had in your life, of, any size, big, small, or indifferent, and call them cookies. So the next time that you're up against it, you go pull a cookie out of the cookie jar and eat it, and it will energize you. That little victory that you had will energize you.
Well, so my best friend, Zach Shabbat, many of you know him. He always has this concept of celebrating the try. And what I love about celebrating the try is, you say something too, Katie, where you don't attach yourself to the outcome, you attach yourself.
You attach the activity, not the outcome. Yeah.
I love that, because celebrating the try is all about that. It's about celebrating, taking that step and betting on yourself, or betting on your capabilities to conduct an action, rather than tie yourself to the result. And so he could care less on if you were successful at that or not, but he's all about celebrating the try, celebrating doing something and action. And I think that's so powerful, because I think, they say in the book multiple times how, in part 2, I think it is, when he gets to heaven, it's not about a physical place. It's more about mindset. And it's more about like, everything is perfect in my mind. Because if you're saying, I've got to get to this speed, that is inherently setting a limit. And perfection doesn't have those limits.
Right.
I think Super powerful.
There was just a spot that I just lost my thought, but
I did find all of the pictures of the birds very distracting. I was like, where are the words? I'm so confused.
I actually enjoyed them. So, as you know, I live on Cape Cod, and so I'm on the beach a lot, and all these, when I watch the birds, like this picture, you guys, like I see this a lot, and it's associated with what's actually going on in the book, and you're like, do they really do that? Like, is there really a John? I'm like, which one's Jonathan?
Oh, I know. I so haven't looked at birds the same way since I read it. But yes, in the reading of it, I was like, this is so distracting. Where's the next part of this?
Oh God, no, I love that. The thing that comes through really strong in this book that I found, really, really grounding was a lot of what, you've kind of already been saying, but that we have this mandate. We have these capacity for achievement that most of us, even you and I, are probably only at 4% of what we could really, really do and really, really be, and the impact that we would really want to have. So I feel like every book I read goes back to the 5-second rule, but because it's all about intuition. You feel this intuition, you act on it. But that's what this book is about, getting the urge. And the urge, I believe, is a divine tap on the shoulder, like, psst, you can do this thing. Go try it. And you have a choice at that point. Mm-hmm. You choose to try it. You choose to go forward in that direction, or you choose to ignore that poke. And sometimes I ignore the pokes, not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well, I think we all do. I mean, it basically is like, when he talks about he eventually gets this following, like he chose to lead in that moment. If you choose to lead, you'll develop a following no matter what it is that you do, because the big secret to life, as I have found so far, is there's tons of weirdos like you. I mean, there's weirdos like me. We're all weird in our own ways, but there are other people that like us and respect us and want to be around us no matter what the situation.
No. I'm gonna stop you at part of that sentence. They like us, they want to be around us, not no matter what, but because of.
Yes. That's a much better way of putting it, because I think that's something that we all miss, is we get so wrapped up in the I'm weird, I'm different, people aren't going to want to be around me doing this, or birds aren't going to want to be around me doing this. And we lose sight of all of this greatness that could be in our lives because we're so caught up in what we don't have, or what we aren't connected to.
Yeah. That need to be accepted. I mean, it's a real thing. It's a real thing to feel the need to be accepted or included, but it's not specific about by whom. So a lot of us are shackled by approval from our parents, and kids do things that freak their parents out. We just do. Is everything okay there?
There's thunder. They're barking at
still thunder and barking. Okay. I'm so sorry for your poochies.
I know, they'll be
gone. But you can find, you just have to, if you're struggling and you're like, my parents think I'm nuts, they're not going to pay for college because I'm majoring in theater and blah, 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 whatever, or whatever it is. My friends won't hang out with me because I decided I didn't want to eat meat anymore. And now they think I'm some kind of weirdo. And, now they're like, whatever, you're not going to stick with this. It's not real. You don't really mean it. And I know kids, who have made the real conscious decision to do something like that. And they're just kind of pushed away by the friends. But the fact is, those might not be your people.
Right. Well, that's why it's so different. I mean, how many people hated middle school or high school, or all of these people, or all of these stages of life? And, it doesn't always get better, but it does get different, and you have to actually find your people.
Yeah. Wait, do you really believe it doesn't get better?
I believe it gets way better.
Yeah. So then let's just go with what.
Like, don't believe it gets better, and in the I'll say that in the moment, it can feel like it doesn't get better.
Yeah, like, there's nothing that
when you're in the thick of middle school or high school, or not having your village, if you will, you can feel like very isolated, very alone. But to me, you've got to take comfort in that it will be better than this.
Well, you just have to have some faith, and that's you just have to believe that that's possible. Absolutely. And it's hard. It's hard to do. Faith is just like going forward with no evidence.
It's that blind faith. I think everybody.
But that's just, it happens over and over.
Right. And it's just that slight shift. So they said one thing that I loved toward the end of the book, where Jonathan says, the price of being misunderstood, he thought, they call you the devil or they call you God. I
underlined that same one, that same line. They call you the devil or they call you God.
Is depending on what circle you're in, depending on who you have supporting you, that's exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah. And the bigger you get and the more outside of the norm for your circle you get, the more you're going to get that response. And that's scary. You're going to be exposed. First of all, nobody wants to be called the devil, but sometimes it's almost easier to be like outcast for being wrong than being held up as some model of perfection, because nobody fits that. Yeah. And that I think there's more pressure to be that. But no matter what you do, if you go to your potential and you'll go be as big as you are meant to be, you're going to attract attention. And for a lot of people, that's it. That's the deal breaker right there. That's the showstopper. I don't want attention. I don't want people recognizing me. Not necessarily, as a fame way, but I don't want people looking at me. I don't want anybody's attention. And it just breaks my heart that people won't live fully because of that.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I think here's my other question about it though, is do you feel like, because I like this idea toward the end of the book where he talks about wanting to go back to the flock.
Yep.
And wanting to help this new group. And I think that's an evolution that anyone that finds their true purpose eventually evolves to. Look, my true purpose, once I'm able to achieve it, is not just about me. It becomes about others. And it becomes about, I want to help other people in their journey to achieve their purpose because I feel like I'm achieving mine.
Isn't that how we started though? That's how he started. Mm-hmm. And then he abandoned it. Mm-hmm. And went off on his own thing. How do you feel about the end of the book? Tell them what happened in the end. It makes me mad.
Part 4. I'm trying to remember because I finished it a few weeks ago.
Well, basically they abandoned the idea of actively being big and actively trying all the new things and actually living the life of doing the barrel rolls and just finding what the capacity of a seagull actually is. And they just turn it, they worship the idea of it. Mm-hmm. And they have monuments and they have ceremonies and all this stuff, but they don't do it anymore. And it becomes like a status symbol, like the graves of these seagulls. Now, like the wealthy seagulls, they go and they bring the finest, stones and pebbles to blah, 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 blah. And now it's a privilege to just be at these things. That part bums me up because don't you see this in and this is me getting a little bit out there and look the hair to go with it. Little things like the arts. So I, business owner, whatever, I support all these different charities. They're actually places to be seen.
Yeah.
Charity events, you actually go there to be seen. But like, so let's say you go to something for big brothers, big sisters. If you're not a big brother or big sister, I don't know, but you're just giving money. I guess money's good.
Well, so I took something completely different.
All right. What'd you get?
So I took it more about that once you've achieved your purpose, you're right, people don't do it anymore and stuff like that. But it's not so much about being seen, but more about it becomes the norm. And when it becomes the norm, it's not special anymore.
Which, wow. Which
Maybe
is,
I missed that.
yeah.
Again, high school me would have fucked this whole thing up.
Oh man. Oh God. See, it's so funny how from two completely different perspectives we could be looking at this.
Yeah, and I mean, either of us could be right or wrong, but I think that's part of it too, is the ultimate theme that goes across all parts of this book, and actually across all of the books we've read, is that it's really in the eye of the beholder or the doer. Is this important? Does this matter? Should I keep doing this? Will people care? And ultimately, you're not doing it because people care. You're doing it because it's special, right?
Yeah. Yes. Well, you're doing it because it's something that comes from within you, and really the response from everybody else is incidental. So what you said about your interpretation of the end of the book is that it just becomes normal, is exactly what I just talked about. Like, after having achieved goal upon goal upon goal, and then like gone, oh my, I am having a moment, just so you know. So going beyond and beyond, and then beyond where, see, you can't even see my hand, where you ever thought you could go. Now you're like, okay, well, this must be it.
Yeah.
It's great. This is great here. I love this here, until you don't love it anymore. And until you become stagnant and bored again, which is, this is where I am right now. I'm about to level up in a way that I have never imagined. Like, I can't wait to talk about this whole thing this time next year.
Right.
Because I'm never like, well, I'm not getting stagnant.
It's like, I think back about a year ago and you're like, wow, I can't even believe that that's where I was a year ago. Now I'm here. What happened? And you're kind of like, did I black out for a year? This is like where I'm at now. Like, because we forget about the journey that gets us there so often. And then, I mean, like now I think on Facebook or something like that, we oftentimes see when people have those moments of reflection, when people stop and pause and give thanks to their family and do sometimes what we may consider those over the top posts. But I love reading those posts because I feel like it's an acknowledgement of what has helped them get to where they're at.
You actually recently did a post for your anniversary. Both of you did. And I was like, like, it was, and these were, you know, it was a real acknowledgement of where how far you came, and it's just a restatement of, and I think that was the part that really, really got me, and I think is important for all of us to do, is sort of restate your gratitude, I guess, but also just like how special the marriage or the achievement or the business or the partnerships, whatever it is you have, to be like, I worked really hard or searched my whole life for this, and now it's true. And can you guys believe this? Like, this is like, what?
Well, I'm working through a gratitude journal that I just decided to do just because why not? And one of the things that they have you do in the book is they have you write down 5 people that are important to you that you would like to, that you would give thanks to. Yeah. And then you turn the page and it says, now message them that.
Yep.
Reach out to them. And it was such a gratifying, really cool process for me to do, because I basically did that and was like, hey, I don't know if anyone's told you today, but like, I think you're great.
Yeah.
And it's so impactful to the 5 people that I said it to, that really, really did appreciate it. And they had massive gratitude toward me. And it just was an amazing experience to go through that step that I really enjoyed.
Yeah. No, true. I think that one of the big messages that is coming through here and coming through so many of the things that we've been reading and talking about is that you have to live.
Yeah.
You have to live, not just exist. And you don't need money to live fully. You don't need anybody else to live fully. There's really no excuse. I've been in some pretty low, pretty broke and broken places.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out how to live during those. And actually, take a cue from you, gratitude was the way to do it. And because like we're mandated to live. If we live really the way that we're into, and we actually use our gifts, follow the impulses that little seagull did, then we are fulfilling our purpose. So many people walk and people are trying to figure out, even, they're self-aware, like, I just want to know what my purpose is. I just want to know why I'm here. And, it's not always easy to get that answer. You're going to get it in little bits. Like, I'm sure there's people listening right now who are like, great, just tell me what it is and I will do it. And the thing is, you have to just shut up long enough to hear it. And you're going to hear it in tiny little things like, oh, this is a real thing. Like, my daughter's piano teacher is also a family friend. And she's just so good to us in so many different ways. You were talking about the gratitude campaign. I did the same thing. I just out of the blue wrote her a thank you note. So I took the time to think about someone who was, so first of all, she's done great things. She's chosen to be kind and wonderful to me and my family. Yeah. So there's one little piece of sunshine in the world. Number 2, I stopped for a minute and noticed it. So that's another piece of sunshine. Mm-hmm. Number 3, I took a moment to write about it.
Right.
And send it to her. So that like sunshine circle just expanded and expanded. It made her day, it made my day to see her get it. Like, gratitude is the place to start. So that would be one piece of advice I'd have for anybody. Like, if you're looking for your purpose, just start with what you're grateful for, because then you'll start to get all the positive, like you'll open that like positive channel for yourself, and you'll find the things that are important to you. And you're like, wow, there's a theme here. I really love doing music. And again, I'm going to,
it'll help you uncover your purpose. But the other thing it'll do is, and this would be my hope for humanity, we'll say, but the other thing it'll do is it just might help convince somebody else to keep chasing theirs.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I, talking about with like the little eyes theory, that there's always somebody behind you, below you, around you, who's watching you.
Yeah.
And if you can't do something for yourself, do it for them.
Right.
And that's because also I believe that's part of everybody's purpose. You've got to be looking out for other people, especially people who are less powerful, less anything than you.
Absolutely.
You've got to find a way to lift them up, carry them along, inspire them, help them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we've kept people a long time tonight. So I want to wrap up. I love this book. If you didn't read this book, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, it's a really good book. Quick read.
Yes. And a lot of pictures.
A lot of pictures.
People who like them. I like the pictures.
So I really enjoyed it though. Don't shy away from it if you're like me and you like that tactical advice. I really think it's worth a read. At the very least, it's worth flipping through for the pretty pictures.
Right. But it's also a really good gift.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's a good gift for a young person because it is like the metaphor is pretty, it's pretty straightforward. It's not
for sure. So next month we'll be back on the first of the month, which is exciting because we haven't done the first Thursday in a little while.
I know.
We'll be back on the first Thursday, so August 1st, and we're going to be talking about The Slight Edge. I don't
love that. Oh, I've got it upstairs. I adore this book.
Because I've been reading it, but it's really, really an interesting book that talks about how you can kind of edge out your competition and what can you use as a differentiator. It's back to the kind of that tactical advice, but I think it's a really powerful book so far. I'm not all the way through it just yet, but I'm really excited to discuss that one.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome because everybody's always trying to swing for the fences and everything, and it's just not about that.
Yeah.
Look at me with a softball metaphor, huh? Are you proud of me?
I am proud of you. I am proud of you. Well, until next time, I hope you guys stay safe and enjoy reading The Slight Edge. I'll drop the link.
Fly, birdie, fly.
Yes. And
don't let the dog get you. Fly.
All right, I will see you next month.
Bye.
Bye.